All right, we're back with Hal Eisner and our legal team, Leo Terrell and Anthony Falangetti, and interesting information from Dr. Carr here.
Excellent.
All right, so next week we expect that we may get the conclusion of the prosecution's case and the beginning of the defense case. And everyone is saying that we expect something dramatic in the first day. What could that possibly be?
Well, you know, Anthony and I may disagree because, again, I'll say it again, I apologize for repeating myself. The defense has to come out strong, outstanding, professional, well-liked defense expert and attack the credibility of the prosecution expert. If they don't do that, they're not going to gain any traction. And they got to do that first, immediately.
Who could they possibly get?
Well, they have the best foremost propofol expert, but I don't think you lead with that expert. I think you right away you start boring the jurors. You got to bring something that's emotional to them. You got to bring something that's real to them, that's going to hit them inside their heart and get them engaged in your case. Here's my opinion. The defense floundered on cross-examination against the people's experts, right?
Absolutely.
They floundered and they looked bad. You're not going to look good by going back to the same topic with your experts. It's going to look like you paid for your experts to come in and rebut the people's experts and just be the opposite. You got to do something that's going to make them like the lawyers, like the client, and get them kind of heading in your direction in some fashion. So different tactics.
They're waiting for their big moment. We've been sitting on this, and here we go.
But it's more than that, I think. You know,
I agree.
You have five extraordinary attorneys in there. You've got 3 for the prosecution. You got 2 for the prosecution and 3 for the defense. They're all high caliber attorneys. Yeah. Really, they are. And none of them are over dramatic. I mean, you know, the prosecution, they're very straight laced all the way across. Defense attorneys, Chernoff is a little bit, you know, he could be a little more dramatic.
But this is where Anthony and I agree 100%. The prosecution has done a solid job. But the defense just did a very poor job in keeping and harnessing those experts. They let them ramble, they let them talk, they let them control the testimony. If you're a defense lawyer, you are going to use the art of cross-examination to get yes and no answers. Not let these guys explain.
Now, I have something to say here. This is interesting because we haven't heard, I mean, we've seen Michael Jackson's photograph. We've seen him, you know, dead on the table. We've seen those horrific pictures. But no one has talked about Michael Jackson being dead. No one's talked about the impact that has had on his fans, on his family, on people who knew him and worked with him. And how much is that going to come into play?
Here's the thing. We're never going to get, the impact on the fans. Right. That judge is never going to let that in. But we got a glimpse of that. When the security guard early on in the trial, one of the best things the prosecution did very early, security guard comes up, he describes the children crying, in shock. We had those moments of that tremendous emotional impact from the death of Michael Jackson, and don't be mistaken. The prosecution is going to come back to that in closing argument, and they're going to drive that home to get those jurors saying somebody has to be held accountable for it.
You know, we wander through the maze of scientific and expert studies, and you forget that, and you come back to that.
Because this is a criminal case, and remember, the ultimate issue is causation. The emotional aspect, if there was a civil case, you would hear a lot more of that. But in this criminal case, causation is the issue.
So let me ask you one thing. Week ahead, we get the defense to start talking because the prosecution is going to rest its case. And what does the defense have to do? I know you said they have to come out strong, and I know you said that the 911 call is a vulnerability. But what is the overall strategy here?
In 20 seconds, though.
In 20 seconds.
Overall strategy is to prove reasonable doubt by saying the causation of the death of Michael Jackson was something other than Dr. Murray's conduct.
Out of his control.
Right.
All right, guys. We'll be right back.
Want to follow the